My name is Fergal Murray and I'm a Guinness Master Brewer, and it's my great pleasure to explain to you the fascinating steps of the Guinness brewing process. It's been the craft of combining the water, the barley, hops and yeast in the same way since 1759 that makes Guinness one of the most unique and great beers in the world. The Guinness brewery has evolved and you will see the brewery of yesteryear, and I'm going to show you the modern brewery that is automated and computerized, which now produces over 3 million pints a day, each one perfect. From the roast house to the brew house and from the fermentation to the maturation, you will see how this great beer is made.
Where the barley is gently roasted to reach exacting specifications, which give the fantastic ruby red color and roasted flavor you can detect in Guinness. It is a wonderful place, and its aroma is rich and exotic. The key step of the brewer at this stage is to determine when the roast is ready. What I'm looking for is the grain to be consistently brown all the way through, like this. What an incredibly rich flavour. Try it yourself.
Welcome to brewing. My name is Fergal Murray. I'm Guinness Master Brewer.
Guinness Brewhouse.
It's my great pleasure to explain to you the fascinating secrets of mine.
Firstly, the purest of water is sourced from the Wicklow Mountains. Brewers are precious about their water, and here at St. James's Gate, we are privileged to have water that is perfect for brewing. Secondly, Ireland's finest malted barley is milled into a fine powder and coarse husk. The water and grain are mixed in one of these mashing vessels. Here the starch in the grain is converted into brewing sugars. As us brewers like to say, extracting the goodness. The mash, which looks like porridge, is transferred into this key. The mash is gently rotated and hot water is sparged in. Then after a period of time, the sweet liquid, now called wort, is run off through the slotted floor of the vessel. They operate like huge ovens, where the barley is gently roasted to reach exacting specifications, which give the fantastic ruby red colour and roasted flavour you can detect in Guinness. It is a wonderful place, and its aroma is rich and exotic. A key step for the brewer at this stage is to determine when the roast is ready. What I'm looking for is the grain to consistently brown all the way through, like this. One of these enormous stainless steel fermentation vessels. In today's brewery, the brewers use sophisticated computerization to control the fermentation, to allow the yeast to grow and convert those brewing sugars to alcohol. In this cauldron, the mix of grain, hops, water and alcohol begin to create the full, complex, balanced Guinness flavour. At the end of the fermentation, we remove the yeast using centrifuges. Historically, this yeast was skimmed off the top of the beer using wooden skimming boards. Muscle activity during fermentation, the beer is allowed to settle here in the heart of the modern brewery. This massive maturation vessel above me holds over 720,000 pints. Maturation allows the beer time to settle and to mature, to establish its full characteristics and Guinness flavour. We eagerly await the time when the maturation period is complete, so we can ensure the beer has reached perfection. After the beer is tasted and confirmed perfect, it is transferred to these, the final cellar tanks, where the brewing process is complete. And each stage of the brewing process, quality is paramount, and we insist on perfection. But there's one last check before any Guinness can be St. That's the taste. I always ask myself the question, will Arthur be happy? Slaughter.
Hello. Thank you. Very good.
The tasting team at St. James Estate meeting the tasting lab at around 10 every morning. Here we do the final quality check, the official tasting. The tasters ensure that the beer always meets the exact specifications before it leaves the brewery. Hi, I'm Tim Holmes. I'm the tasting team here at St. James Estate. Welcome to our tasting lab. You're going to taste a sample of Guinness straight from the brewery. I'm going to show you how we do the final taste test in order to unlock all the flavours in these.
Steam to carry Guinness to port, and then beyond the Irish shores, and throughout the rest of the world.
When he reaches the boy, I start the clock. Marco against a pint. They expect. And they nobody said. One day I lose, he said. Don't worry, I said.
So you can pick Cool. Right, so you can take the 2000. Master. Go back to the 1950s. Good one, mate.
Look at this big pint glass.
I know, yeah. The biggest pint glass, that's a bit of a joke.
Lots of order.
Yeah.
Doors opening.
I know, it's only 5.
Doors closing. Seventh floor. Doors
everybody.
That's a bit better. You're very welcome to the Dublin Literary Pub Crawl. My name is Derek and this is Frank. And we'll be your hosts and entertainers, we hope, for the next 2¼ hours, roughly speaking, depending on how slowly you walk or how quickly you drink, or the other way around if you like. Before we begin, there are just some announcements we always have to make. First of all, if anyone is carrying a mobile phone, now's a very sociable time to switch it off. Lad scramble up the front. Thanks very much. Also, as we go about from place to place, we're obliged by the law to ask everyone to keep a close watch on their personal belongings, okay? Dublin is generally a nice, friendly, honest place with lots of nice, friendly, honest people. That obviously it's a laugh, that's you.
Can't be me.
It is. Well, look at that face, the face that sank 1,000 pints and launched 1 million hangovers, but couldn't cure them, unfortunately. But there is an element of professional thieves, I'm afraid, in the city, and they look like us as well. So be careful. The next announcement is nicer than that. For your added entertainment throughout the evening, we have a literary quiz for you. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
You talk to them.
Oh, you're doing great. Go for it.
The announcement about the thieves got a better response than that. I'll try that again with a bit of panache. That's a word I learned last week. For your added entertainment throughout the evening, we have a literary quiz for you. Oh, don't overdo it.
It's a well-known drinking song here in Dublin called the Waxies Dargle. And it got its name from the Waxies, which was the name given to the local candle makers here in Dublin at the early part of the last century. The Dargle comes from the Dargle River in Bray, County Wicklow, which is about 10 or 12 miles south of here. And each year the Waxies, or the candle makers, used to try and get the money together to go to the River Dargle for their annual outing, where a fun time was had by all, we're told. And since Dargle rhymed very easily with gargle,
It was very easy to write a drinking song about the whole experience, which they did. Now, there's about 27 different verses to this song. Thankfully, I am only going to attempt 3. Otherwise, we'd be here all night. However, at the end of each verse, I would like you to join in on a very short chorus. At the end of each verse, I'm going to sing. So, what'll you have? And I want you all to sing back, I'll have a pint.
I'll have a pint.
There you go, I will have 2 if you're going for one, absolutely. It's nothing too long, nothing too complicated. By the looks of things, one or two of you have been saying it since your arrival, so it certainly shouldn't prove too difficult. Anyway, we'll just try a quick rehearsal and see how we get on. He's right. So, what will you have?
I'll have a pint.
That's not bad at all, yeah. Just pick a key, any key. Sing it like you've got a thirst and we'll see how we get on. Alright, it goes something like this. Says my L1 to your L1 when we go to the Waxy's Dargle. Says your L1 to my L1, I haven't got a farthing. I went up to Monto Town to see young Kit Picardo, but he wouldn't give me half a crown to go to the Waxy's Dargle. What'll you have?
I'll have a pint.
I'll have a point with you, sir, and if one of us doesn't order soon, he'll be thrown out of the boozer. Says your L1 to my L1 when we go to the Galway races. Says my L1 to your L1 with the price of me lads' braces. I went up to Capel Street to see the money lenders, but he wouldn't give me a couple of bob of me lads' red suspenders. What'll you have?
I'll have a pint.
I'll have a point with you, sir, and if one of us doesn't order soon, he'll be thrown out of the boozer. Says your L1 to my L1, we have no beef or mutton, but if we go to Monto Town, we might get a drink for nothing. Here's a piece of good advice I got from an elfish monger. When your food is scarce and you see the hearse, you know you've died of hunger. So what'll you have?
I'll have a pint.
I'll have a pint with you, sir, and if one of us doesn't order soon, we'll be thrown out of the Well done, thank you very much indeed, that was lovely. Thank you very much.
Find drinks just to get rid of them and pass them on to the next guy. And that's how he gets his day's drinking done. It still works perfectly well, by the way. So watch him in the next pub. But this particular day, things are not going well. He does not have the entrance fee, and he's forced to beg on the streets with rashers to get it. That puts him in bad humour. He considers that form of begging beneath his dignity. The whole piece is called A Run of Bad Luck. It also involves the story of a very elusive orange. It also features a strong Dublin accent. So if your first language is not English, you have a big advantage. We take up the story as Rashers has just finished singing a rather sad song, which leaves the boys more depressed than they were to begin with.
That was a sad class of a tune.
It's a sad class of a day.
It's a sad class of a world.
Ah man, no customers either. Business is in the doldrums.
We're too far off the beaten track.
If we chance any closer, the police might catch us.
Well, if we stay where we are, the customers won't see us.
They use this as a shortcut now and then. Do what I told you. You keep a look out that side and see if anyone is coming. I'll watch this. Now, if he's poor, don't bother. If he's rich, see is he a Catholic or a Protestant.
How am I supposed to know whether he's a Catholic or a Protestant?
Use your loaf. It's disastrous to pick the wrong tune. Here, if he looks fat, he's a Catholic. Of course, Protestants are sometimes fat too. But they never look it. If he's thin, he could be either. If he's thin with a long face and a sharp nose, that's a Protestant. If he's thin with a long face and a nondescript kind of nose, that's a Catholic trying to look like a Protestant. Well-off Catholics often do. In that case, look down at his feet and sees he wearing gaiters.
By the time I've done all of that, he'd be at home having his tea.
Here's somebody
Just come around here to get off the main street and, as I say, far from the maddening crowd, and I thought we'd only stop up towards the top with our articulated trumpets to be hitting off in the next few moments. But our final pub of the evening is just back around the corner from us here. We passed it by. It's a pub called Davy Byrne's, and it's probably Dublin's best known literary pub, if the truth be known, because it was a pub widely used primarily by James Joyce and featured quite heavily in his second novel, Ulysses. He set a whole chapter of Ulysses in the bar. Chapter 8, the Lestrygonians chapter. You'll remember it when you're rereading it, I know. When he was a student in Trinity College, Samuel Beckett lived above the pub, had a flat upstairs, which was very, very handy for Beckett indeed. But let's face it, any university student to be living over a pub happy days. Cecil Salkeld was also the father-in-law of another regular drinker in Davy Burns, and that was Brendan Behan. And no pub crawl of Dublin, literary or otherwise, would really be complete without speaking about Brendan Behan. Now it has to be said, there are over 700 pubs in Dublin, and nearly all 700 claim to have a story about poor old Brendan, because he was unfortunately as well known for his drinking as he was for his writing. But if he was a drunk, he was an honest one, because he very candidly described himself one time by saying, "I'm a drinker with a writing problem." And you can't get more honest than that, in all fairness. He was born here in Dublin in 1923, born into a very Republican family. He started drinking at the age of 8 when his grandmother, Granny English, used to send him down to the local pub for a small bottle of holy water. Whiskey to you and me. Brendan would dutifully go on the message, but would drink half of it on the way home, filling up the bottle with tap water and giving it to the granny in the hope that she wouldn't notice. The irony being was that the grandmother lived well into her 80s, whereas Brendan eventually died at 41 from alcoholic-related diseases. A message there for all of us, which we'll duly ignore. Yes, indeed, the hostage travelled over to Broadway, and Brendan went over, obviously, to see how the show was getting on over there in New York. Soon became the toast of New York. Everywhere he went, there were literally hundreds of people following him around from pub to pub, waiting to see what he was going to do or say next. He was getting police escorts everywhere he wanted to go. One journalist caught up with him and asked him, "Mr. Behan, do you get a police escort when you're back home in Dublin?" He said, "Yeah, I'm normally handcuffed to them."
Just get a bit of the building.
I thought like I was like.
Snoeje roosig na sluitje, fibratto en ngel. Go me mit non lason, fibratum subrium, egeruege on tasning, en mit sardi.
Má chéach mar a hána a cholamútin sin ó fáidí wahan ma cearls. Nis cahamad suspiag hoigal ach nar illins mut a ráis be mut a caint fi rás névóg na horan is antilum, Fanny Ling.
An taachtain seo jigig. Céchalos go bata canis.
Dí orm de sibhirt acu me ganir gur dig síos go tain ag sa mhharil sa caiicheach sláin ag bha.
Le fálamach bigí le sa dúna ag a leabhar hí se hocht TG Canis.
I don't think it's really going to be a factor in our weather. There'll be a few of those kind of things throughout the week, but the main thrust of the weather is this region high pressure, which is a very, very stable feature and should keep us dry, with lower humidity for most of next week. So it's going to stay dry tonight. The skies will break. Tonight will be the coldest night of the weekend, and I think temperatures only dropping down to 3 or 4 degrees because of variable cloud cover. So the depth of the frost won't be as severe tonight, and we have those southeasterly winds. So looking at tomorrow then, it's a bright day, and as usual, when the weather is like this, the west of the country always does best. It'll be cool and frosty starting off, but eventually temperatures, well, in the west we get up to 9, 10 degrees, probably on the east coast only 7 or 8 because the breeze will be onshore there. It'll be dying off through the day, so it'll be getting lighter. It's not a big cool breeze, but you'll definitely notice it. And then by Sunday, I think that wind 5 to 7 degrees, a nice bright day, low humidity, the place drying up very, very well, and I think we can look forward to a lot of dry weather next week. Well, that's it from me. I'm very